Alright guys, each week I have to plan out my lessons, and what I do first is, well, I kind of do it simultaneously. So I write out my schedule at the top of my Erin Condren planner, and I think I'm going to print out some labels so I don't have to keep writing out the schedule. But the first few weeks of school I do it in pencil because my schedule is still pretty fluid. I'm working out the kinks. And then here is where I write in kind of what I am doing. And I'll take this with me, and this is what I will have throughout the day to read. Okay, so let's come over here to plan board so we can see. Here I've already started planning out my lessons, and this is the one that I'm going to turn in because we have to turn in lessons. We have to upload our lessons to our principal and our assistant principals, like our appraiser, whoever our appraiser is. We upload the lessons there. I am at home as it's a Sunday, so family is here. So you're gonna have to, they're gonna be in the background, and that's the life of a teacher. So I've already done my math for the week. And Planboard is a free app where you can write out your lessons and plan them out. So I've looked here at my TEKS. This is like the IFDs, which is the exemplar lessons that kind of give you a guide as to what you're teaching. See, I'm in unit 1, I think that's right. And it just tells me what my third graders are supposed to learn. And then I look at what my third graders are supposed to learn, or supposed to be learning, and I go over to the vertical alignment and I look at it and I find where my third grader is, and that is what I teach, not the third grade. I give them access to the general education curriculum by looking at the vertical alignment and closing the gap. So if I have a third grader and third graders are supposed to describe the characteristics of various forms of poetry and how they create imagery, I'm going to look and say, well, let's see, describe how rhyme and rhyme repetitions interact to create images. That's second grade. He's not there yet. Let's respond to and use rhyme and alliteration in poetry. Not quite there yet. Respond to rhyme and rhyme in poetry through identifying a regular beat and similarities in word sounds. So this is where I will start with my third grader, and we're going to teach him there and close in the gaps. So my lesson would be teaching him to pick out the rhymes. We might do a nursery rhyme or a book with rhyming words, and we can find the similar sounds. We might talk about the endings. So that's what I would write up in my plan. But for this one, so I write my plan and the plans for my aides in my master plan. And I print it out for my aides so it's color coded so they can see what they're supposed to do right away. And if anybody walks into my room to observe me, they can look at the plan and see this is what I'm doing at any given time. So I planned out math already. So what I wanted to do with you guys is to go through and show you, I've already done large group. So what I wanted to go through with you guys is go through and just kind of show you one day, Tuesday, of kind of how I plan out my lesson. So first I go and I find the target in TEKS resource system. And then after I find the target and select it, I just copy and paste. The one thing about Planboard that's different from Planbook is that my Texas standards are not on it. But because I have TEKS resource system, I can just copy and paste it. So that's too easy. So I put in my task. Then the next thing I do is find my target. Well, after I put in my task, I modify it for my students based on what I think they can do, or based on how I feel they can best communicate to me or show me that they're what they've learned. So next I go to my targets and I find my targets, and I use this this resource I found from Teacher Pay Teacher, and it's called Kindergarten Texas Teacher I Can TEKS Objectives. And it has all of my kindergarten TEKS objectives, which is the ones I mostly use for my students. First grade, I just look up on my own. I teach 1st through 4th grade, but most of my kids are 2 and 3 grade levels behind, so they're in a self-contained class. So after I find the target, I type it in, and I use this software on my computer called Grammarly. And Grammarly edits all my grammatical errors and underlines them, and then I just go in and fix it. So that helps out a lot, because I don't think that there is a, like, you know how Word has spell check? There's not a spell check in Planboard. And then next is the guided instruction. These are all things that I have to, all the elements that I have to have in my lesson plan that my principal requires. So next is the guided instruction, and I just write simply how I'm going to teach the task to the students. So then after guided instruction is my students are in groups, so if it's group 1 or group 2 or group 3, I put the groups in there. But if it's all groups, then I make sure I write all groups are learning the same thing here. And because this is just the 2nd week of school, I've leveled the group, but I'm still providing them all the same information to see where they are. And then after I see where they are, after my first couple of grades and assessments, then I will my groups will start to look different. Next is the DOK, which is depth of knowledge. And in Gen Ed, we want our kids to be at a level 3 or 4. So some of my kids are on level 1 DOK, some of my kids are level 2 DOK. So I put my DOK question in there to, it reminds me to use the question, and it also shows my appraiser that I'm using DOK. And then the independent learning, that's like what they're going to do on their own. So it's I do, you do, we do together. And then collaborative learning is how we're going to get them to collaborate, which is a challenge with my group because they're nonverbal. Then after I do my part, I go in and I write in my aids section. So in most Gen Ed classes, there is a you do learning centers. So my class, my students rotate to me, and then when they're not with me, they're with a paraprofessional because they need monitoring and transitions and plenty of support. So they're with a paraprofessional, and the paraprofessionals have to have something to do in the learning centers. So they're working with the paraprofessionals in the learning centers. This upcoming week, I'm going to be doing independent workstations, and I'm going to probably do a video on independent workstations and how I set them up and how I teach them. So each one of them have a task and an activity, and what I like to do is I like to put in exactly what they're supposed to do, and if there's a picture to go with it, I will put a picture and illustrate it. I color code them so they know whose is whose, so they can just look at it spot on and tell what it is. Next, I copy the lesson for all 5 days, because I'm going to teach the same teach and target all 5 days. But then I go in and I go to, that was Tuesday, so now I'm going to Wednesday and modifying Wednesday to fit what I'm going to do. So this is the rubric, and I'm looking at the rubric to see what my assessment is going to be over. And then I put it into my lesson plan. Just change it out for my students, and I change out the guided instruction, and I just update what needs to be updated each day. This is Friday, and each one of these lessons, to do a whole week of one English lesson, took me about 45 minutes. So I can do it during my conference period. I just take one per day, one subject per day, and knock it out during my conference period, and then I don't have to lesson plan on the weekends. So that's Planboard. And that's how I lesson plan for my special education classroom. In a nutshell. Thanks for watching my channel.
In my channels.
It's not your channel.
I was in your
It's your mommy's channel. Thanks for watching my channel.
And I want to tell them 4 things
Okay.
to watch.
Tell them. Tell the people.
My school channels.
Okay, tell the people.
And thanks for watching my school channels.
Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to watch more of my channel. Awesome teacher. Below in the description box are also my Facebook, Instagram. What else do I have, Taswin?
I don't know.
Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
All that's below, so you can follow me on most social media platforms.
And y'all can follow me on Instagram, like Naya and Allie. Make sure to follow them on Instagram too.
All right, thank you.